Hey everybody, it's me, DeoGenZ, welcoming you back to another episode of Pokemon of the Week. This week we're going to check a tier that I've never tried out before, and that is the BL team, which stands for Borderline, and one of my favorite walls that supports the team, Chansey. If you ever get a chance to catch this thing, seeing that it is super duper rare, don't fret that it's in the BL Borderline tier. I know that sounds like, oh, it's borderline, that means it must barely be usable. But this is not the case when you witness its 250 HP. What borderline simply means is it has some odd stats to it, and I would agree. A 5 base attack and a 5 base defense, that's not very favorable for anyone. And unfortunately you'll have to mitigate that with the effort values and an awesome item that everybody loves, Eviolite. This excellent piece of equipment will allow your Chansey to gain 50% more defense and special defense, and the reason that it only is in play on a poke like this is because it still has another evolution to go, Blissey. But with this item attached, Chansey actually becomes better than Blissey in defenses, so you must include this item. I know you're very tempted, as I was, to put leftovers on this Chansey, but with Eviolite available, there's really no second choice. I mean, a base of 5 defense, that is really something you have to help with. Now the nice thing is, this poke is a supporting wall, so that it will block your opponent, especially when you have Eviolite attached. You max out your physical defense, and you don't worry too much. You throw any extra EVs onto special defense because at 105, you're already in a good spot. But you want to make sure that you get that defense up to something okay, something that won't have it knocked out in one shot. That's the unfortunate thing here is, being normal type, great, you don't have many weaknesses, but also your stab is not very super effective against anything. Also, it's weak against fighting. It's the one type you're weak against, and fighting types tend to be physical, therefore a weak physical defense, it's not the most fantastic thing. So invest all your effort values in physical defense. The cool thing is though, is if a fighting type comes on the field and say you have a status wound, you have Thunder Wave, which that'd be a waste on this Chansey since there's no investments in speed that I would mention here, although this would complement a Trick Room set quite well, so consider that much. But if it's poisoned, if it's burned, if something's taken away from its health, its ability Natural Cure, it's meant to be a supporter. I mean, it will cure itself of its status when it switches back, then it comes onto the field, and these are the moves you want to look to, which is Wish, primarily. What Wish has changed to do is give the poke that is taking up the Wish the amount of health, half the amount of health that the original Wish granter made. So if Chansey makes this Wish, you're getting an enormous boost in health. It's no longer dependent on the poke that is receiving the Wish. It's now dependent on the one who did the wishing, which in this case will be Chansey, and the move here to do is, say you have a sweeper laying in the wings, ready to faint, and, one thing to mention though, is if you want to try that strategy where it's on the very verge of fainting and you want to wish, make sure you've cleared the field of any entry hazards, because Stealth Rocks can make you stumble and mess up your entire support system with Chansey here. So keep that in mind. But Wish is wonderful with this poke. The more HP it has, the hardier its Wish can be. So either you use it on yourself, you need to get up a lot of health for whatever reason, maybe Chansey took some physical damage and even though you boosted those effort values in physical defense, it's just not cutting it, then you could use Wish and Protect. The way Wish works is you grant it, and then the next turn, somebody uptakes that health. And if Chansey needs it, Protect is perfect for that because they can do nothing. But do note, Protect doesn't work consecutively, so don't try to be a wall stall. Toxic is one of the greatest ways to stall, but if you depend on using Protect to completely stall them and not have any sort of damage done to you, that's an imagination dream that is just not going to happen. And Seismic Toss, of course, is included to make this set not taunt fodder.
So, an alternative status affliction move you can attach to this set is Thunder Wave. That will have the potential to paralyze your foes and also put them on the level of lacking speed. Probably not enough lacking of speed to have Chansey outspeed it, but the idea with having Thunder Wave equipped on this set would be to set up one of your other pokes preferably your sweepers, to be speedier than something that was really sticking at your side like a thorn in the jungle that you just can't remove. That will really help if you whittle down its speed with Thunder Wave. My personal choice would be Toxic. I like Toxic because over time you actually take away the opponent's health without having to constantly attack them. Just them being on the field, so long as you can stall them, is the virtue that will destroy them. Now, if you're looking for an alternative to Wish, and you want something that is just going to maximize your health as Chansey, then Soft Boiled would be your choice. I wouldn't have it over Wish any day though, because Soft Boiled only heals Chansey. You can't transfer that to anyone else on your team. It is a one-use move, or not a one-use move, obviously. There's more power points than just one. You're not going to go into struggle that quickly. But it's only one use in that once the move is activated, Chansey's the only one who's going to reap the benefits from that egg being cracked open. So why not go with Wish, where, yes, you can heal Chansey, but you can also heal your team. Since it is a mixed wall supporter, I wouldn't recommend you depend on this thing's defenses alone. You have to be tricky with it, and you have to take advantage of its niche Wish, because being at 250 base HP gives it one of the largest wishes in the game, and that's something you just can't pass up. So Soft Boiled is there, you can consider it, and also you may want to consider Counter. Counter is a great way to take that awful offensive physical strike that would decimate your defense otherwise if you didn't invest anything in effort values, and of course have a nature that's favorable to it, takes all that damage, doubles it, and sends it back at the opponent, and that's perfect. For set 2 provided by Badassxscrafy, we see a switcheroo on the effort values of where he's maxing out what defense. Instead of maxing out physical defense, he went and maxed out special defense. And this is a really interesting alternative to have for this set. I wouldn't recommend it highly, only because now you're leaving yourself completely exposed for a physical lashing on anything that comes to the field, even if it's not a fighting type. If it's just a strong, using its stab, physical sweeper, I think Chansey's going to come into some trouble here, even with all the health that it has. So in order to play this set properly, I would recommend that you only switch it out when you know that you're safe amongst special sweepers or just special attackers in general. So that can become an issue if you're trying to, in a pinch, heal up some of your team members with Wish to rectify their HP, or Heal Bell, which I didn't mention in the last set, but it is a good alternative move if, say, you don't want to toxify your foes, or if you don't care about using Protect on Chansey and you'll take whatever damage you can get. Then Heal Bell is awesome because it will purify any status conditions on all your party members. So it doesn't matter, you don't have to switch as you do with Wish for that effect to take hold. All you have to do is use it, and it will help and support your team immensely. So for things and situations like that, you don't always have the opportunity or the presence of mind to have only physical attackers on the field. Unfortunately, you can't control what your opponent sends out, so you can't say to them, hey, yeah, no physical attackers, man, you know, let's keep it special today. I'm feeling special. You feeling special? Let's do it special. So it doesn't work that way, and therefore I don't see this maxing out of special defense as even being a little bit necessary. If anything, maybe I would split special defense, EVs, and physical defense in half, but even so, a base 5 of physical defense is just diabolical, and you really, really need every bit of help you can get. So with the Eviolite, here he suggested using leftovers. I'm going to suggest against that. Definitely got to go with Eviolite every time, especially if you're not going to invest any effort values for defense. The Eviolite item will take care of that for you 50% wise for physical and special defense, but still, even so, even with that item attached to it, I would really recommend maxing out that defense a little bit more. But that's about all the time I have for talking about Chansey today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Just recently we heard a lot of X and Y news from E3, or rather Nintendo Direct, because Nintendo's badass and they're just like, I don't even know what need to go to E3 right now. And they showed us a fairy type. Now Chansey's one of those pokes where I would imagine it would be categorized as a fairy. And the fascinating thing about these pokes is that they are super effective against dragons. So I'm really curious, this being a metagame forum of sorts, to hear all of your opinions on the new fairy type. Are you excited that after all this time, 14 years to be precise, that now there's another type? Or are you dissatisfied in that your dragons will not do as much damage, or that they have another weakness to watch out for, not just ice, not just dragon, but now fairy type? And I also kind of find it funny that the fairy is the thing to take down the dragon. I don't know, it just seems like the beefed up dragon and a nice sprinkly fairy will come by and destroy you is just a funny dichotomy. But I'm pumped for it, loving the news that comes out, and more is soon to come, I'm sure, over the summer. It will release in October, but in the meantime, make sure you subscribe to Planet Poke because you will get all that and more. We will have X and Y information, we will have X and Y gameplay on here when the time comes. So you definitely want to be subscribed to us so you know when it's out. And if you're still curious on how you do this effort value training, you're like, what's this borderline? What are these EV stats you speak of, Dio? I just clicked on this video because I was bored and confused, and now you're telling me about all these invisible numbers? Well, check out my channel, youtube.com/DeoGenZ. I'll leave a clickable link for you that allows you to go to this video, Effort Value Expertise, that will guide you through the confusing and invisible stats that make such a difference in the metagame. So, I'm DeoGenZ, and I will see you next week.